You start out with people whose lives are really miserable, and here's the level of the sage. This is total delusion, and this is total awakening. There is a point on this road. A very significant shift takes place. And that significant shift is when the realization happens that I am not the person. Not the person. When awakening is the realization that that person doesn't exist. That person is completely a fabrication of the mind. And it's important to understand, this is really a key one, because many people get and have the experience, like I said right here. They suddenly wake up and they bump into this, oh my God, I'm not the person, that entire thing is a story. But then they find, 15 minutes later, 3 days, sometimes even a month later, that sense of not being a person, the sense of being pure consciousness, begins to fade. And they go, well, what am I doing? I want to hold on to a sense of desperation can even emerge. What has to happen is the vision has to move south. It has to move into the heart. And it has to move into what we wrongly call the body. In doing that, right, we can often get frustrated because, well, I saw this thing, why isn't it happening? Because your body, the nervous system, this functioning is still functioning as it's been conditioned. And in fact, will continue to. Right? There's a moment at which you realize that isn't important anymore. That this vision really is true. That I really do see that this way. I really am pure consciousness. And it doesn't matter if I have a bunch of thoughts that object to it. The way the system functions no longer holds any meaning for you. It no longer holds any interest. It's not really important. So you don't beat yourself up because you lost your temper or something. You say, oh, the temper got lost. Has nothing to do with me. I'm this. And so you realize that you've always been this. You are that awakened perceiving that is behind everything. Right? I mean, right now you're perceiving. There's all sorts of things going on that you've identified with. You say, that's me, and I got this, and this is going on. But at the heart of it is simply the sheer, simple, absolute fact of perceiving. And that perceiving is completely neutral. It's open, it's spacious, it misses nothing. Everything is allowed. It has no judgment, it has no resistance, it restricts nothing, it emphasizes nothing. It is, it's like your eye. Your eye doesn't do anything, it just lets the light in. It doesn't say, well, that light doesn't get in. Now, there's all sorts of parts of the system that filter stuff out so that you don't see it all, that process it in various places. But the eye doesn't do any of that. The eye just goes, light. It takes it in. That perceiving, right, is you. That perceiving is all there is to you. That is the awareness. That is the pure consciousness. The simply, I am aware. It is the awareness that is the I am. And in fact, it's the awareness that's even aware of the sense of I am. I am cannot arise without you being there first, prior to everything. So you're not the person. You don't need to even go about self-help trying to improve the person. You don't need anything at all because you're not the person. You don't need to fix them because they're not you. The person is nothing but a story that's been made up. It's a story that just got solidified into a single thought, and then we believe that single thought actually was something, rather than just a thought that refers to nothing at all. It refers to simply this incredibly vast, beautiful, complex functioning that we call the universe, that we call life, that we call space-time. We have all sorts of names to it. But remember, none of that could be appearing if you weren't there first. If there wasn't someone perceiving it. You don't even have to know who or what that someone is. As if you could, because you're prior to any knowledge you'd even have about who you are. There's a beautiful saying in Hindu. It is drishti Shrishti, it's hard to say, Vada. Drishti, Shrishti, Vada. And it means the world exists only when you perceive it. The perception is everything. Perception is awakening. What I really want you to see ultimately is that all of this is this. That's the only thing that's happening. It's the only thing that's ever happened. It's the only thing that ever could happen. Because no matter how identified you are with the delusion, you are simply aware of stuff. The only difference you might say is at this point you're identified with what you perceive. At this place you are not identified with what you perceive. Here there is no more I to be identified. All of it is the awakening. You couldn't get away from the awakening if you wanted to. It's simply who you are. Stupi Walsh. Until later.